Hi guys, welcome to another GG.CO.UK video. This is day 3. Cheltenham day 3 eye catchers from the festival 2020. So get your trackers ready. Let's get a couple of these in the system for the new season. The first horse we're going to talk about is Saint Sonnet for Paul Nicholls. This horse was making just his second start over fences when contesting the Marsh Novice Chase. He put in an excellent round of jumping, bar one flight. He took off slightly too early at his fence and lost his position in the pack, dropped right to the rear of the field, used up plenty of petrol to get back into a prominent position. He was bang there in the turning for the home straight and then just couldn't go with the front quartet and just faded. I think he's much better than that. He's off a mark of 147. Like I say, very unexposed, only the 2 starts over fences and only the 2 starts in Britain. Saint Sonnet could be going on to big things this year, and Paul Nicholls was very, very bullish about this horse prior to the Marsh Novice Chase. So Saint Sonnet is one we're going to keep a close eye on this term. Third wind in the Temps Handicap Network final. He was caught too far back in this race. He did some excellent late work. His form has worked out well throughout the season. He's off a mark of 141 now. That was his first attempt at 3 miles. I think dropping back in trip to around 2.5 miles, 2 miles 5, I think it's going to see him in a better light going forward. He only had 3 runs last term and only 2 over hurdles. He's definitely open to plenty more improvement. I'd love to see him win a big pot over hurdles this term. Chasing didn't go to plan last year, so I'm presuming they're going to put that on the back burner for now. I suspect he'll have another season over hurdles, and a mark of 141 for the third wind is very, very exploitable. Diesel Alba was the other horse on day 3. Travelled through the Kim Mule at the winner throughout the whole race. You could pick him out a mile off. He failed to find a gap when the pace was just quickening up around the home bend, and then just hit the second to last flight and just didn't have enough to pick up again inside the closing stages. He remains very much of interest going forward. A handicap mark of 141 is very exploitable. If you go back and watch his race prior to running the Kim Mule, he looked an absolute beast, and not just that, the form has worked out really well. Diesel Alba is a horse that I have had my eye on for a very long time since he was running over hurdles. He just looks such a bigger, stronger horse now. I think Diesel Alba is going to be better than a mark of 141. There's definitely a nice handicap in him this season off that sort of mark. Day 4, we'll kick off with day 4. Scaramanga was one of the horses that caught my eye in the county hurdle. Now he's only had a couple of spins on the flat since. That hasn't really gone to plan. But I was on duty at Wincanton when he won before contesting this race. And it was better ground that day. It was good soft in places. And he just absolutely tanked away from a pretty useful field. He is a top of the ground horse, so he's definitely worth one keeping an eye on. He was eased off in the closing stages in the county hurdle. He was banging contention before just the raw power of St. Roy kicked in and pulled away. And, you know, he's only £9 higher when looking really, really impressive at Wincanton the time before. The other horse in here is Embittered. Embittered ran some extremely strong fractions on the front end of the county hurdle field. He was only caught late on by St. Roy. He could be anything still, this horse Embittered. I really like the previous form that he showed, and he's definitely a horse going places. So Embittered is the other horse to take from the county hurdle. Scaramanga and Embittered. Aown was the one for me in the Albert Bartlett. Now, there was plenty of talking horses in the Albert Bartlett. I'm not saying that the likes of Monkfish and Time Hill, etc., Time Hill especially, are not horses to take from the race. I'm looking for horses that may well have more to come in handicaps going forward, or more to come off their handicap marks. And Aown wasn't given the best ride by Danny Mullins in the Albert Bartlett. He was hung out the back. He was widest of all for the whole trip, and then was about 8 wide coming round the home bend into the home straight. This horse looks built for fences. He really does. I get the feeling that the old phrase, anything he does over hurdles, is probably quite right with this horse, because he's only going to improve for a fence. He looks a really, really nice type. He really caught the eye. I think he's going to go novice chasing this season. I think he is really one to keep an eye on, honestly. He's big prices for some of the novice chases at the moment. Now, obviously, it's a little bit too early to be talking about those, but I do really think this horse is going to be in that sort of category. He's a winner over a point-to-point before going to the Mullins yard, and that will definitely hold him in good stead going forward this season. That's Aown. Potentially a graded chaser, the next one, and that's Granite in the Grand Annual. I was on him this day. I'm gutted he didn't make it 4 for 4 over fences. He was 3 for 3 coming into this race. He just got no run whatsoever. He was blocked in. He looks a real powerhouse for Paul Nicholls. He's definitely going to continue to improve going forward. He's off a mark of 151. He's better than that. He's at least a 160 rated chaser, this horse. I think he's going to be in graded company going forward. So if he lines up in a handicap off 151, I'll definitely be all over that. He has won on good. He's won on heavy. The trainer could already won first time out. So early on in the season, if they can exploit that handicap mark early on and then go on to better things, I'd be all over Granite off a mark of 151. He was the one to take out the Grand Annual for me. You can pick about 10 out from the Martin Pope. There was loads of eye catches in there. It's a race that's really worth close scrutiny. Keep an eye on a few of the horses in behind. I do like that race as a form line going forward, so I'm going to use that a little bit. But Mill Green was one of the few that didn't have the rub of the green for me. He didn't have a straight passage when turning for home. He weaved in and out of the field. The door was closed on him once, door was closed on him twice. I think a step up and trip looks on the cards for him. He finished really, really strongly in that race. And I don't see why they wouldn't be going over 3 miles this term if he stays over hurdles. A mark of 141 looks very exploitable as well. All these horses are around marks of 140, 141. And I do think there's more to come from them, especially Mill Green. He's only had 8 starts as well, so he could have plenty more to come for Nicky Henderson. Do like Mill Green. So that is the closing stages. I'll just list these off again. Saint Sonne over fences. Only had 2 starts, still a novice. Third Wind in attempts. That was the eye catcher. Diesel Alba in a Kim Muir. On day 4, Scaramanga and Embittered. Aeon is a big one. I'm a big fan of this. Going to be a big fan of this year. Granite the same. And Mill Green. Those are the horses that I've taken out from day 3 and day 4. Now put these 2 videos together and we've got a collection of horses just to keep an eye on going forward, providing they've got the right conditions that they're going to need. It's going to be tough early in the season. We're going to need to see who's fit and who's not. But I'm pretty sure these horses definitely have mileage in their marks. So keep an eye out. They're going to go on to better things. And hopefully there's a few winners in there going forward.